Morning, folks. I'm out in the garage again. Don't mind the attire. This is my garage clothes. It could be at anything when I'm out here. So anyway, so it could be painting, could be doing whatever. So why wear your Sunday best, right? So what am I at today? Well, I've asked a couple people in my previous videos talk about, Intarsia or laser engraving, and like I said, I do a bunch of other projects besides being outdoors at the cabin and stuff. I'm an expert rabbit snarer. And if you saw my last video, folks, you know the truth of that one. Anyway, so today I'm out in the garage, and I figured I'd just do a quick video on some of the woodworking stuff that I do. Right now I got a couple projects on the go. You probably saw a picture of this earlier in the last year, before Christmas, of a trout that I'm doing. This one is not quite finished yet. I'm actually in the process. I got to create a backer board for this, so that's why this piece of plywood is here right now. It's 1/8 inch plywood, and what I'm going to do is trace that out, create a backer board for the mounting of it, and once that's done, I will finish it with polyurethane. And it's going into my cabin. That's the destination for this guy. I've also got another project on the go. If you watch my previous videos, you've probably seen me do this pattern before. It's a simple moose head that I do, and I'm doing this for a friend of mine, a recent YouTuber, and he has a cabin, and I won't give any names here, but he has a cabin, and he'd like to have a piece of something put in the cabin. So this is what this is going to be once I get it done. And basically I'm doing it out of a single piece of pine, 3/4 inch pine, and I'll cut it out to the pattern and sand it, and then I'll stain it accordingly. Okay, and again, once this is finished, I'll put it together, put it on a piece of backing board, and we'll go with that. So yeah, that's what I'm at today. Earlier this morning, just step over here for a second, folks. Earlier this morning, a person wanted a charcuterie board, and these are the charcuterie boards that I do. And I put it on the laser engraver, and I just show you some pictures here of previous shots I taken with the laser engraver. And I plan to do a video soon about the laser engraver. I'll talk in detail about what the engraver that I have and the software that I use to go with it. So stay tuned for that. But this video, I'm just going to take you through the process of getting a couple of these Intarsias ready for the wall. Like I said, guys, I've been doing this for about 5 years now. I have many Intarsia projects in my house, at the cabin, and so on. So yeah, it's good. It's a good hobby. Anyway, folks, hope you enjoy. It's not a hunting or rabbit snaring video, but just take you along for the process. So basically, folks, what you see here is the outline of the trout. I don't know if you can see the pencil marks here on screen or not, but basically now I'll cut this out on the scroll saw, and I always paint my background boards black. And you'll see what it just shows. It blends in nicely with the pattern that you're doing. So yeah, so that just basically same shape as that. Cut that out, paint it black, and I'll glue it to the back of the pattern. Stay tuned, folks. I'll take you through that process. All right, folks, so once I got it cut out, I check it for fit. And this basically goes right under the pattern, and I looked in to see if there's any little spots that I need to trim up. And I see right here, if you can see that or not, but in here there's still a gap that I missed. I don't think I'll bother with that because that gives me a little bit more support on the back here for supporting this trout. So connection points here, here, and here, so that the project remains stable. And so this is going to be black anyway, and you won't notice it when it's put together. So anyway, so I'm pleased with that one. Make sure here, like so. Yeah, so that looks good. All right, so we'll go with that. And what I'll do now, folks, is I'll take this and I'll paint the entire back black. I won't put glue on, won't put paint on the inside because I'm going to glue this, and I want as much surface raw wood as possible when I glue stuff up. I don't want paint to interfere with it. So I will paint the entire back black, and the edges, of course, because once you put it on the wall, you don't want to see white edges along your edge of your pattern. Okay, you don't want to see these white edges. So yeah, I'll do that now and take you along. So folks, all I'm using here is some dollar store craft paint. You can buy it anywhere. I get mine at the dollar store, and the same thing with the brushes and stuff. Because and I don't know if this one's been opened or not. Yes, it has. Okay, good. So get a pair of gloves on. And we'll go through painting this thing. So like I say, guys, I will paint the back and all the edges and some of the edges stuff in here. But the bulk of this part here will not be painted because, like I said, that's where I glue it up. Okay, folks, I'll let that dry now. Clean up my mess I got here, and we'll glue it up tomorrow. I'll let it dry overnight here now, and while I'm waiting for that to dry, I will start cutting out the moose. So yeah, this is just a pattern, standard pattern that I use, guys. It is a pattern by Judy Gale Roberts. And you can look up her at Intarsia.com. She has a bunch of patterns. I've got many of them, but this is one of my favorites. So I've done this a couple times for myself. I gave one to my uncle, and this one, like I said, is for a friend for his cabin. So let's get this cut out on the scroll saw. So folks, you see I got the outside, or the main shape cut out, and I used a number 3 blade, and that's usually what I use on my scroll saw for cutting at parameters. Now that I'm going to cut it up, I'll cut out all these individual pieces inside. I want to use a much smaller blade. And the reason I want to use a much smaller blade, guys, is because these pieces had to fit back together now, and by using a much smaller blade, we reduced the amount of wastage here, and the fit is much more cleaner. if you're doing true Intarsia with, if I was using different pieces of wood, different types of wood for all this, I would cut the antlers out of pine, for example, maybe cut the neck and the fur part out of walnut or something. And when you're putting multiple different species of wood together out of different parts, cutting out parts and different pieces of wood, the smaller the wastage, the better fitting you get on your Intarsia. So what I have here is a number 1 Platinum Plus. I cut the outside with a number 3. This here is a much smaller blade, and to the point where I have to run my fingers over it to see which way the teeth are going. So I put it in the scroll saw correctly. I put the number 3 in earlier, and I put it in backwards to start off with. But anyway, so I told us that the teeth are going this way. I got resistance this way, so that's the way the blade would go in the scroll saw. So I'm going to cut out all these pieces, individual pieces here now, and I won't take you through that process. You can see me cutting on the scroll saw earlier. And when I finished, I'll bring it back and I'll just lay it out here on my pattern. I'll number every piece, so keep track of what's what, and I'll lay it out here on the pattern. And if you notice, I actually went outside the pattern here. I had some extra wood here, so just made the neck a little bit bigger. No big deal. Instead of wasting the wood, I just cut it out, same general shape, just made the neck a little bit bigger. So anyway, let me get back to cutting all these individual pieces out. Put a blade in the scroll saw, number 1. And I should note that I started out with that cutting this out with a new blade. I always start a new pattern with a new blade. It just makes it that much easier, guys, when you for finish and stuff. And so now let's get the number 1 in and cut out the rest of this. So folks, all the parts are now cut out, and what I'll do now is I'll sand each individual part, start shaping it. Some parts here, for example the eyeball, I will raise that up, so I'll put a piece of backing on the back of that, a little piece of 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch plywood. So raise it up, so give it some profile. I'll also do some texturing, and you see this here, the bell of the moose. We'll do some texturing on that. Make it, try to look, somewhat like fur. The antlers, of course, will be as smooth as possible. So yeah, a little bit of work ahead. Yeah, I mean, this is the test that takes the most work with any Intarsia. It's the shaping and sanding and stuff. Cutting it out is probably one of the simplest things. Getting it to shape and sand is what takes up the most work. So I'll go ahead and do that now, and I'll probably film some of it, but won't bore you with all the details. So folks, you see I got all the parts cut out now, and some rough sanding on it. You always soften the edges of the pieces for your Intarsia. It just makes it that look a little bit better looking. So yeah, I got all the pieces cut out. Start now profiling and texturing this. I'll raise that eyeball, cut out the nostrils and stuff, texturing and shaping now. So be another couple of days before I get back at it, but it's coming along. All right, folks, come back to you when I get at the texturing and stuff. Okay, folks, it's the next day, and the black paint has now been dry. So this is the back of the Intarsia, Trout, and this is the side that I'm going to glue this onto right now. So I already checked it for fit. Did that before I painted, obviously. So now we're just going to glue this up. So basically, all I do is, this is just a regular Gorilla wood glue, and I put a bunch on here now. Spread it out, and get it all over this board, everywhere, because I'm going to clamp this up, and I don't want any false edges or any vacuums, holidays in there anywhere. So I'm going to spread this around, and this is just an old paintbrush I had around, guys. Anything you want, spread out your glue. You don't want your pattern to be lifting off from the backing. You probably hear the engraver going over there, guys. It's trying another pattern over there on the engraver. So multiple things going on at the same time here in the garage. A little bit more glue there, like so. Make sure we got enough on the edges here. Like so. So, once you've sufficiently put enough glue on there, take your pattern, line up as best you can, and put it in place. Press down firmly so it sticks real good to your backing. And then you clamp it up. So I just use these spring clamps, guys. And I'll clamp all the way around here now and get it, make sure it's lined up where I want it lined up. And clamp all the edges for sure. Like for instance here on the fin, it's on the edge of the pattern. All these spots like that first. Make sure I clamp these up. All along the edge down here. On the head. Make sure that's all clamped together there. Try to get clamps in here also, if you can. Some patterns don't allow you to do that. Like for here, I can't get a clamp in there. But what I will do is come as close as possible to it. So this is a smaller clamp. Yeah, I'll get that in there. So yeah, get a clamp in wherever you can, especially along the edges like this, here and here. Another one here. And do that all the way around. So basically, put one more here. There we go. So now that's clamped up. And what I'll do now is wait 24 hours for this to dry, and then it's ready for polyurethane. So yeah, I'll just put that one side here now, folks. So folks, I got all that trout clamped up there now, and let that dry overnight. Let the wood glue dry up real good. And tomorrow I'll start the process of putting polyurethane on it. And I'll probably do 2 or 3 coats on that one. 2 coats for sure, probably 3 or 4. Once we get that done, we'll be able to mount it, put it on the wall. So last time we checked in with the moose, guys, it was I got it all pre-sanded, and what I'm going to start to do now is do some texturing. Where this is a moose bust, I guess, a moose head. Well, anything with fur, I like to try to make it look like fur. So what I do is I'll texture it with the little grinder I got here. This here is the bell, so that's obviously should be more textured than the fur. But there's some spots here that will leave smooth. Like for example, the antlers will be smooth. The areas around the eyeball will be smooth. The eyeball itself will be smooth. But anywhere there's fur, the snout will be smoother. And like this neck area, this will all be textured. And what I'll use for texturing is basically a little cut-off wheel here, and I will texture the wood to make it look like fur. And it won't be exactly like fur, but it'll get that fur look to it. Have some texture to it anyway. And the other thing that I'll do is that some of the parts here I want to raise up. For example, this is a moose's ear that's here, and it's supposed to be gone under his antler, but I'm going to raise that up to give it a bit more profile from the pattern. I have to create a nostril here for his nose, and so on. So I'll get that done now in a few minutes and bring you back when I get it done. folks, the parts are all disassembled now and stained up. Gotta wait for that to dry now overnight, and we'll put it together, glue it up tomorrow. Glue it up. After that it's glued up, we'll create another backing board and then glue that up, and we'll be ready to polyurethane that one. And what I'll do is I'll wait and I'll polyurethane both the moose and the trout at the same time. Take you along, guys, when we come back. We'll be gluing this up. Morning, folks. We're out finishing up the moose today. I got the backing board cut out, got it all painted, so I'll let that dry now. And here's the moose that's already glued together. Now, I forgot to mention how I glued the piece together. Basically, once it's all cut out and the stain dried, and apologies, I forgot to record the staining part of it. Didn't have the camera going. So anyway, once it's all dried, I basically glued the pieces together, and let me get this glove off here. So I put some bit of glue on the edge of each piece and stick them together and put them down on lay it out on the pattern, like so. Once all the pieces are glued together, and it stays there and it lets it dry overnight. So that's how I glue the piece together. So this now is one piece, and you can see from the back, all the numbers and stuff, how it looks. It looks pretty crappy from the back, but well, that's why you use the backer board. So yeah. So now I got it all glued up, got the backer board cut out, got the backer board painted. We'll wait for that all to dry, and then I'll clamp it up and glue it up. So I do have my trout already varothaned or polyurethane. I did that earlier in the week, so you can see the pictures of that here. And once I get this varotane, I'll get back to you, folks. So I have polyurethane, sorry. Once I get that done, I'll get back to you, and you can see the end result of both projects. Anyway, folks, thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you like this type of video, it's not an outdoor video or anything like that, but it's like woodworking, which is another thing that I get into. And later on this spring, I'm going to be doing a video on the laser engraver unit right there on my bench. Just give you a quick look. This is the unit, and you can see I've been cutting out stuff with it. But this is where basically I do all my engraving for the cutting boards and stuff. So take you through that process at your unit. It's an Ortho Master Pro 2, and give you all those details in that video. Alright, folks, thanks for watching. Take care, and just show the end results of these two Intarsia projects that I just completed. So enjoy.